Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. In my previous video, I was talking about the very much reference of Prakriti and Purusha, male and female confluence, or that sexual intercourse, why it is called the spiritual interaction or time and space travel. And I was talking about the various other factors and cofactors that govern. Now let's take the subject much further from the viewpoint of psychology, psychiatry, psychometric point of view. Now, here, dependency again is based on the factors and cofactors from the viewpoint of स्थायी or asthayi. Sthayi being at a virtual state of mind. Asthayi being at a virtual state of mind. Sthayi is at that present time, which again is a which again constitutes the very understanding about the bhava and anubhava respectively. Now the point over here one needs to understand, or one needs to talk about by and large is again science of sound and the science of vibration, which again will be done in much detailed way as it is, though I will give that introduction as a whole. Now, here I was telling male and female confluence or the sexual interaction is all about Bindu Kala. Once that music inference or the science of sound comes into picture, that's when it becomes Nada Bindu Kala. Now, there are two stages for in the human existence. One is at Bindu Kala and other is at Nada Bindu Kala, which one needs to understand. This is one very important aspect for what you call as to what is it that happens at the Bindu Kala aspect. Bindu being here when male and female comes together, there is one soul that is created, that is Bindu, and that gets connected to the multiverse again, wherein that seen and unseen God, which is both form and formless, that energy starts traveling. Here, if we really see, if we deep dive into the subject, we need to understand the very fact of how you pronunciate and how you enunciate those sounds that are existing in the universe, or those sounds which are very much in cross reference to the very aspect of Matrikanyasas, respectively, which is existing in the Akshamala of the Mother Goddess, respectively. Mother, who is the benefactor for this universe. Okay. This is one very important. That is a reason why Stree, woman, or Prakriti is given that highest state, highest level, rather to say. And as I was talking even about the lower levels, levels of the music. lower, medium, high, lower, medium, lower, high, medium, high, lower, high, and peak levels. And these music notes, if you really see, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, pa, dha, ni, if we really see, they come in single note, double note, triple notes, triple notes, four notes, and five notes. And these are again further classified into Ekaswara, Dviswara, Triswara, Chaturaswara, Panchaswara, Shashtaswara, Saptamaswara, Ashtamaswara, Navamaswara, Dashamaswara, Dwadashamaswara, Ekadashamaswara. Now, basing on these musical notes, the very subject is created from the objective point. We need to understand at a higher level, ladies and gentlemen, these musical notes, which are the primary and the key aspect for everything. Now, if we add two swaras, say sa sa, re re, ri ri, ga ga, mama, papa, dada, dha dha, sa pa dha, sa ni dha, re ga ma pa dha, re ga ma pa dha ni dha pa sa pa ni dha. Now they have different frequency sounds that exist. If we see and do and see those different combinations, that's where that is what affects whole of the body from the viewpoint of psyche, psychology, psychometry, psychiatry, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if you really see, these saptaswaras are all about understanding the very meaning of psychology or that psychiatry point of the human existence as a whole. However, sthayi bhavas or asthayi bhavas are the resultant forces. Bhavas and anubhavas also being the forces. Now, this is what is called nada aspect. And when when male and female starts hearing to these musical notes, that's when that nada bindu kala aspect comes into picture, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the reason why I said this is one of the very important points which one needs to understand. Music has always played a key role, whether it is at terrestrial level or the initial level. Intra, extraterrestrial level and ultimate terrestrial level, it's far beyond all of this. That is okay. So one needs to understand. We need to understand the very aspect of basing on what theology that these saptaswaras play, what kind of bhavas that come into picture. Meaning, what are those, factors and co-factors that really govern, which needs to be thought. Let me just give an introduction to Sthai Bhavas. Though in my what you call explanation in the notes, you will have whole of the gist, what really happens. However, I'll explain in the next video. In this video, let me just talk about the Sthai Bhavas, which are nothing but rasas, which are the output or the resultant for the same, which are rati or shringara bhava, which is nothing but it gives reference to erotism, romance, and love. This is what I said, right? Attraction of male and female. Hasya bhava, comic or laughing. You know, at laughing at someone. Shoka or karuna bhava. These are again common characteristics, which is nothing but showing that pathetic nature or compassion nature or sadness nature or etc. etc. Okay? Krodha that evokes Raudra Bhava, and which she is more or less talking about the furious nature or indignation or that anger. You know, this bhava evokes again this bhaya or bhayanaka aspect. Again, feeling of terrible fear or horror. Jugupsa or jugupsa that evokes uh, vibhasa. In the sense like annoying, disgusting, you know, it is a state of disgusting state or annoying state. Vismaya, that evokes adbhuta. You know, like, you know, wonderful, astonishing. And Shanta Bhava, that's the final part, which is peace or tranquil based. Now, if we really look at all of this, how are they actually like evolving? As I was speaking, Saptaswaras, Akara, Ukara, Akara, 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 Makara. Now, if we really look at this, Ukara are the reference to those Matrika Nyasas which I was talking about. These are the sounds that exist in the universe. Again, other sounds. Angan, im, im, nam, nam, to name a few other exceptional things. And this is where actually like Saptaswaras sthanas come into picture, which are nothing but Shadjamam, Rishabham, Gandharam, Madhyamam, Panchamam, Daivatam, Nishadam. Etymologically, if you really see, if we really look at, I was talking about Ikara, Ukara, Makara, Imkara, Rakara, Hakara, right? So, whole of this concept, whatever that I am talking about now, this touches upon the Shat Chakras, starting from Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agyan, and Sasa. And you know, typically this ends with a note for understanding that Ekoham Shivam Aham Brahmasmi. Now, when I was talking about Ekaswara, Dviswara, Triswara, Chaturaswara, Panchaswara, Shashtaswara, Saptaswara, Ashtamaswara, Navamaswara, Dashamaswara, Ekadashamaswara, Dwadashamaswara, it gives rise to gunas. Gunas are nothing but cross reference to again Sthai Bhavas gunas, which I was talking about, right? Wherein Bhayanaka, Hasya, Shoka, and other things. These are again having the factors and cofactors of three different classifications: Rajo, Tamo, Sattva Guna. And now, all of this, if you really see, they happen at a very point of these classifications happen at a very higher point of, like, at a higher stage. All of this happens. This is the initial stage where the male and female starts developing his or her thought process. Filling that thought process, he or she is trying to align and restructure and re-engineer, and he is trying to align his or her thought process. And in fact, this is what happens at the yoga level. This is the real yoga. And this is why I say this Prakriti and Purusha's intersexual relationship is so spiritual that it will undergo whole of this at a lower, medium, higher, lower, medium, lower, higher, 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 medium, and peak level. So, when I talk about all of this, having said Sajjamam, Shadjamam, Shadjamam, and when it starts at a Shadjamam level, okay, lower level of the music, and goes to Gandharam, Daivatam, and Nishadam, those psyche and psychological, or the psychometry, or psychiatric, or the psychotic way of thinking of the thought process starts happening of individual. And this is a reason where this is where one needs to understand what is right and what is wrong. And that is where the Sthai Bhavas, which I was talking about, those bhavas or those emotions which gives rise to Anubhava, which gives rise to Anubhavas, that resultant force needs to be understood, ladies and gentlemen. Furthermore, let me just give you what really these Matrikanyasas, how many types of Matrikanyasas or the Bijaksharas that are there, which affect the body. Am, im, om, rum, lum, rim, reem, reem, aim, aim, om, aum, aha, kam, kham, gum, gham, nam, cham, cham, jam, jham, nam, tam, tam, dum, dham, dham, nam, sham, sam, sam, hum, gum, gham, tham, pam, pam, bum, bham, mum, yum, ram, lam, vam, om. Now, if we really see all these sounds, you have shakaras, rakaras, pakaras, akaras, lakaras, chakaras, dakaras, thakaras. When all of this, to give you examples, I just gave you. However, that list is there, which I will be explaining you. When we add akara, 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 ukara, 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 makara, pakara, jakara, takara, takara, thakara, takara, thakara, or these sounds, when they are produced, really create those vibrations in the body, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where actually, one needs to understand about the very existence of the music. And this is the beauty of Vedas and Upanishads. Nasti satyam nasti satyat param tapaha satyam swargasya sadhanam. Satyam dharayate lokaha satyadevo varshayeti. Now, if you really see whatever words that I pronounced, nasti satyam param tapaha. When I am pronouncing, those vibrations get deep into me. Prabhum prananadham vibham vishwanadham jagannadhanadham sadananda bhajam bhavat bhavya bhuteshwaram bhutanadham shivam shankaram shambhumeshanamide swayam yap prabhate narashulapane pathe strotra ratnam tivha prasya ratnam ganga taranga ramaniya jata kalapau. What am I doing over here? I am, when I am telling Ganga Taranga Ramaniya Jata Kalapau, Ganga, I am pronouncing Nakara there, Gakara, Akara. So, this gets into the blood cells of the human existence, human body, and creates a kind of DNA, and that thought process comes from these positive vibrations. This is what I say, aligning and restructuring of the thought process. And that is the reason why in Matrikanyasas, if you really see, am, im, im, om, rum, lum, lam, reem, reem. Asya Shri Shuddha Shakti Mala Mahamantrasya उपस्थ इंद्रियादि वरुण आदित्य ऋषि दैवी गायत्री छंदः अनिमा सिद्धे लगिमा सिद्धे महिमा सिद्धे इसित्व सिद्धे इशित्व सिद्धे वसित्व सिद्धे प्रकाम्य सिद्धे. I am pronouncing these sounds that are existing in the universe, ladies and gentlemen. Understand this. If you are able to understand where to enunciate and pronunciate, when you are pronouncing, let's say, Am, Am, Im, Im, Om, Om. त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम् भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. मापो ज्योतिरसो ब्रह्म भूर्भुवः सुवरो. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः. ॐ नमः. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः. ॐ नमः. Now, when I am pronouncing or when I am talking about all of this, it is directly or indirectly touching the very aspect of psyche and psychology or psychometry or psychosis or psychometry point of view of the human existence. Not that I only will be getting this, but someone who is actually understanding that time and space travel, so called. This is what I say, like aligning or re-engineering of the thoughts or understanding the very inner engineering of the aspect of the human existence by and large, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, not everyone are really looking at this. Most of them just do it for the sake of doing it, by and large. And that is the reason why during the pregnancy, if a female practices all of these sounds, what happens is this directly or indirectly gets into the mind of the baby in the fetus, because this human body is vulnerable to these sounds, signs of sound or signs of vibration. This is one exceptional difference between initial level of the multiverse and terrestrial existence, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Thus, I conclude this video with a positive. Stay blessed and have a real blissful life. May the Guru's grace be with all. Have a nice day ahead.